Okay, great. Thank you all for joining us. So, today for the next 3 hours, because it is World Music Day, and it's actually kind of Music Day, but we're kind of hijacking that as World Music Day and bringing this together as a bit of a celebration for some of the great stars of music that we love. It's 18 months ago since we started this website. Um, at first, it was just kind of like born during the lockdown where we didn't have anywhere to play, basically, and we still needed somewhere to, outlet our musical creativities and playing and teaching and getting together. So we started this website, and also we've been doing some cool live sessions at various points through the year, and everything we do is all about teaching traditional styles of music from around the world. So far, that's Africa, South America, Asia, and some traditional European styles as well. I'm hoping to expand that as much as possible with the courses that we do and with the live events that we do. So today, for the next 2 hours, we've got 4 different great artists here. So we've got from Congo, from Brazil, from Kazakhstan, and Turkey, different musicians joining us for half-an-hour slots. It's a chance we can hear a bit about their music, hear about the traditional styles from their country, and a bit about their careers and what they've been up to. And in 2 hours' time, I'll be teaching a bass lesson. So if you're a bass player, or if you're not, if you play other instruments as well, you might still find it interesting to hear about some of the Congolese styles that we were teaching. So first off, we have a very good friend of mine. He filmed the first course that we released on the World Music Method. So, all the way from Congo, Mr. Niwodsumbu, how are you?
Hello, how are you?
Very good, sir. So,
Can you hear me fine, yeah?
yeah, that sounds good.
All
That
good.
sounds good. So, yeah, first off, Neil, how did you come to start off playing the guitar?
Well, my brother was a guitarist. They had a band, and so the guitar was always around. Um, Actually, even before that, my cousin also had a guitar. I never even looked at it. I don't remember even touching it. But I do remember having a fascination. Whenever I saw like the electric guitar, just the way they looked, like in the church, I would look at it just like in fascination. But then my brother then used to leave guitar, and one day I just asked him, "Can you teach me something?" And that was it. I never stopped.
What was the first thing that he taught you?
Yeah, I remember very well. I remember very well because it's a seven line from Ale Makaba. Um, so this is what he told me.
That sounds quite complex for a first guitar part.
Yeah, yeah, that's the first thing I ever played, and I looked. I saw him playing. I was like, oh, can I look? And I looked, and he played it, and then I took the guitar and I played it. He didn't have to go like do this. Just from watching him. That's the first thing I ever played. It's just guitar always felt very easy for me. From that day on, it was always I always feel very it was always, and I don't remember ever struggling to play the guitar. It just was always very very natural.
Cool. So, where did you go from there? When did you get into a band or play with other people?
Well, then from then on, then actually what happened on that first day. So I started playing the. Actually, I also learned the second part, which was a. So he goes. So I learned all this. So I started playing. It was around p.m. and I played all day throughout the night. Everybody went to bed. I stayed playing in the living room by myself, and I don't know what time I fell asleep, but I left all the doors open, all the lights open, but I was being woken up with a slap from my grandfather because I fallen asleep in the living room, just left the door open, to burglars and stuff like that. But luckily there was no burglars. But so from that day on, he was really not happy with that, and so the guitar was banned. It was like no more guitar in the house. That it was. It just went like she. So but obviously I didn't stop. I I met a friend of mine who's actually we were the same age, but he was allowed to play guitar, for it is by his parents, and he had the guitar. So after school, I would sneak out of the house. I'd go into their house and play guitar. So that's how I played. So I did that for a whole 1 year like that. But what was amazing about that is, so after I learned that, after learning that, I didn't learn anything from anybody else. I just started creating, and so created a lot of lines, and one of them was. Uh, so my friend who was the guitarist, he used to play in a church already, so he would learn all these sevens, all these lines that I was playing, and he would go play them in the church. So I did that for a whole year, just playing, creating like that, and then he met a guy. One day I said to him, "Man, I'm tired of just creating these things. I want to learn something bigger." That's exactly what I said, and he said to me, actually, a few weeks later, he comes back to me saying, "Man, I've actually met somebody who plays really big things. You're gonna like him." So off we went, and I met this guy. He was playing massive, massive things. It was like, whoa. He was into he was a great soukous player and rumba, 10 years older than me. So he was a perfect bridge because he knew a lot of the older stuff. And because I was growing up in the 90s, the famous band was Wenge Musica. So young people like us were interested in their music. So when I met him, he was already a good soukous and rumba guitar player, and he was getting into jazz. He was learning jazz. So he was meeting his friend in the morning, learn jazz, then comes back home. So I started going to his house. After school, he would teach me, just as jazz standards. So I became like a backing track for him. So I would play chords for him and he'd solo. He never let me solo, ever. I was with him for 5 years. I mean, we played, I don't remember ever missing, unless he wasn't there. I always went and I would always play chords for him. He never let me solo. So I became his rhythm guitarist. Also he would take me to his band because what happened was I got good very quickly. Like I remember. So I remember he had a rhythm player in his band, so I went to see them rehearse, and so he had this. He was teaching him how to play this, this line. It was like an intro, so the rhythm guitarist would start. And they spent like a whole hour. The guy couldn't get it, he couldn't get it at all. So I was like, "So can I try?" And I just went straight like that. I just looked and I played. So the guy lost his job. So from then on, he started taking me to anywhere that he had like a band where he needed a rhythm guitar player. I'll go for you take me, and that really was the best, the most creative, absolutely period of my life. It's the most. That's where I learned everything, all my foundation. Those 5 years, we did everything from. He taught me the old. We went back, you know. You taught me all these. You know, this kind of style. This will be old, even that. You know, young people of my age wouldn't play like that. Those kind of things. And then we also got into a lot of traditional music. You know, as well as teaching me all the modes, you know. That's where I learned all the modes and all, you know, a lot of different scales. So it was really those 5 years really sort of are the foundations of the guitar playing. But then after that, after that, what happened was I sort of came to a point where I felt like I just had a lot of knowledge. You know, it wasn't really turned into music yet. You know, I was quite frustrated actually for a while, where I would play concert, but I wasn't really happy from, you know, how I was sounding. So for a while after him, I went to different. You know, actually even while I was learning with him, I went to a lot of other people too. So I was really. I mean, man, I was obsessed with music. It was not good, you know. I when I think about it today, I look at my parents. I feel sorry for them, you know, because I was so lost. For them, I was the last kid. I mean, some days I would go to school. I'd wake up. I'm going to school, and I'm like really forcing myself to go to school. And I would come to school. I would be like just like 10 meters from school. I'll just take left and then go watch a jazz band rehearse for the whole day. Then after that, go back home. And like school, like I totally forgot about everything. Nothing mattered, only music. So in that period, that's where I started seeing all this jazz band, and I learned a lot because they were even all older people. They were in their 60s, and you know, they told me stuff like. That's Geordie. So the most important lesson that I learned with those guys was one day they asked me to play because they used to just see this schoolboy, you know, standing there watching them for the whole day. And they're like, why don't you go to school, you know? You come to see us every day. And I said I play the guitar, I just like jazz. And so one day he asked me to play. So I played that tune, Geordie, and I was being very shy. And I was playing, but they could see that, you know, I could play. But then Vietoni was his name. He spoke with like very whiskey voice, kind of, you know, like Miles Davis type of voice. You know, he grabs me there in the hands. He goes, hey, when you play, you have to play. People have to notice there's something different in the room. That's what he told me. He really looked me in the eyes. And that lesson really stayed with me. You know, just things like that. I just around Kinshasa, I went to so many different masters of a lot of different traditional music. If I heard there was any sort of traditional musician who lives, you know, somewhere, because especially traditional, when I go into traditional music, it's difficult to find those real proper traditional players. You know, usually they're just some, you know, very old man living not in a very, you know, good sort of conditions. So I would go find all these people to learn, you know, I start to learn. Like that, I learned that from, you know, from Imuluba guy, very old guy, just, you know, a friend of mine. I happened to know him, and I go there, you know. You know, that's really those 5 years. That's what happened. But then after that, I felt like I had a lot of knowledge that wasn't being turned into music. I had to sort of unlearn all that in a way to let it sort of sink in. So I think that's cause that's what I am still doing. Since
What was your technique like at that point? Were you happy with it?
no, that's it. That's what as I say, I wasn't happy with the technique because as much as music we learned, all these different styles that we got into, and we didn't really do technique. But he was always adamant on fingering. Like he was really always, like the thirds when he was teaching me thirds, like I play thirds very exact like that, like that. A lot of people would do like that, like that thirds. But he was like, no, not like that. He always wanted me to do it with two fingers, like that. So I always do, cause that gives you, cause like this, you're in this position. If I want to go, you have to do two moves, but like that, just one move. So he told me all this efficient way of moving. See, I'm not moving much. But the technique was not this good at all before, as good as it is now. Now I feel like I just took what he showed me and extended that. I had to really think about it a lot about movement. That what's the word I'm looking for? It's like I progressed from where what he showed me to just like a lot of different ways of moving. Now for me, it's just about moving. That's what I understand about playing the guitar. It's about movement, how to move on the fret. Whatever melody you're playing, you know, this all that. It really depends on the movement of the body. You know. And when it comes to movement, you always want to, be efficient with your movement. Economy, is very important. That's what that fingering taught me.
Have you got any tips for that?
Yeah, definitely.
Because also that principle can be applied to any instrument,
Yeah,
basically.
to anything actually, to life, to anything you do. It's the, to to be aware that when you're moving, when you're playing the guitar, you're moving. Your movement is the joints that allow the motion. So be just aware. Like you have four fingers, it's four frets like that. So if I want to play this note, my fingers are, try to move, learn the modes, and especially the pinky. The pinky is incredibly important. What I think about it is it depends on your desire, But if you really truly wanna find the amazing mechanism of your hand, you have to work a lot on your pinky. Your pinky, especially among guitarists, people say, people don't even use the pinky. A lot of people don't use the pinky. It's actually only guitars, because if you look at saxophone player, piano players, all these other guys, harp player, they all use their pinkies. I don't know what happened with guitarists that you get this sort of just, but really get used to your pinky, because it's when you have a grip, when you're gripping something, it's your pinky that grips. So it's actually a very, very important part of your hand. And so learn the modes like that. With your pinky, use them. And as you can see my hand, I'm playing, every fret, the finger. I'm not doing a lot of movement to go, small movements just on the joints. You get to do that by using your joints. You know. These are just, you know, I'm just sort of going on the fret, trying to learn all the notes on the fret. You know, it's in G major. I'm not really playing anything, but I'm just giving an example on how to. You know, so move efficiently. That's what I always, say to people: learn to move with your joints. You know. I hope that's making any sense.
Yeah, cool, amazing. Actually, there was just a question from Luke asking about a good source for learning the modes. Perhaps you answered it just there.
The modes, yeah. This another good thing about the modes is ever since I learned the modes, I remember it took me exactly three weeks to learn the modes, and ever since I learned the mode, what I learned was like I didn't just learn the notes, but I learned the sort of the map of the guitar. So when you're learning the modes, don't just think I'm learning the notes. Think of it as you're mapping out the guitar, because the thing about the guitar is you've got the same notes repeat in different parts. That's E, the same E, the same E, the same E, the same E. You know.
Could you summarize what you did in those 3 weeks? If you say you learnt the modes in just 3 weeks, what did you do?
Yeah, I learned, the modes just the way you would learn. I went Ionian. So okay, that's a good question. I would what I would do, I would start with the middle finger first, which gives me this the standard mode. And then I'll play the same mode starting with the index finger, which gives me more like 3 notes per string. It's sort of a different, because as I'm saying, for me this is like a different direction to get to the same point. So if I play the same mode starting with the middle finger, I take this direction, which is. But if I play the same thing starting with the index finger, it's a different route. See, that's how I started seeing it. That's how I was learning the mode. It was more a route to move around the guitar, not just learning the notes. And so I would learn that, and I'll do that with the with the ring finger. It gives you this open strings. Again, it's a different route, the exact same note, but you're taking 3 different routes and different sound, because they all sound a little bit different. And there's a millions of ways you can actually learn this same thing, Yeah. How does it go? You mix it with the open string, so it's the same, playing exactly the same notes but taking 4 different routes, and it's the sound. So that's how I learned them. And I would finish with the Ionian. I'll do the Dorian, and again I would do the same thing. I would learn them in different routes, starting with the middle finger. It gives you this. And starting with this, the pinky would give you this root. So I would, and everywhere. And I would move on to the Phrygian, and I did all that in 3 weeks exactly. The reason I remember then, after I did all that, I remember walking in on the street. It was an album that came out of Wenye Musica. The name of the song was Jojo Ngonda. I remember. I hope I can remember this. So the seven was. Yeah. Uh, so this seven came on as I was walking. I was actually walking back from the lesson from my mentor, and I remember standing there, and I remember for the first time ever hearing everything. I heard everything, and I knew exactly what the guitarist was doing on that song. That's what learning the modes did to me. As soon as I understood the mode, I was able to just dissect any music that not all music, unless it was very complex, harmonic. But if it was anything that was diatonic on the radio, I would instantly know. Oh, that song. It's in a minor. It's in a Dorian mode, and that
Cool.
guitarist is doing this. So that's what learning the modes did to me.
So it made
That's
a good, a big difference to your ear training and your
huge,
ear
huge.
development as well. Just knowing basically the relationship between the intervals and the space between the notes.
Yes, it really
Cool.
made, it was really that big of a difference.
So Neil, you've got a new single coming up soon.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah. Well, it's during the lockdown, like many musicians, well, not just musicians, but people around the world were all at home. The world came to a standstill, and I started going a bit crazy. For the first, I think, 3 months. With all the noise, all the uncertainty. Man, it was hard. It was really hard, and actually, what also happened was my father, my aunt's husband died, and also my brother-in-law died. Those were the first 3 months of the lockdown. So when there's all the noise and that happened, and so it was really really tough up to June, I remember, and I was like, I need to do something because I started going a bit, before all that, and I need to do something. So I decided to start putting arrangements of doing an arrangement of some traditional songs, folk songs, just to turn off my mind, all that. And that's what I started doing. I did actually 6 of them, and the new song that I'm going to release is one of those songs. It's called Ganzinse. It's a very old song, undated. One of these, nobody knows when it was written, who wrote it, and if I ask my grandparents, they're like, oh, we've been singing since we were kids, and everybody just sings it. Nobody knows. I actually just found out it's not just a Congolese song. I thought it was a Congolese song, but I actually found out it's actually just a melody. But in a lot of different African countries, they also have that song in different
Cool.
languages. Yeah.
So how does it sound?
Well, wow! I didn't even plan to play. Okay. Well, in the base of it, it's a very in its foundation, it's very simple. It's a sort of African tune. Kanzenzenze kalengile, pipi kalengile, kapaka samba, katula kalele, mwana bitoto, kapikila kafwa. Kanzenzenze kalengile, pipi kalengile, kapaka samba, katula kalele, mwana bitoto, kapikila kafwa. Kanzenzenze kalengile, pipi kalengile, Bitoto, bitoto, mame, malingere, maingere, maingere, maingere. Bitoto, bitoto, mame, malingere, maingere, maingere, maingere. Na 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 na. Kanzenzente kalengile, pipi kalengile, kapaga samba, tula kalele, mwana bitoto kapikira kafua. Nzenzente kalengile, pipi kalengile, kapaga samba, tula kalele, mwana bitoto kapikira kafua. Mwana bitoto kapikira kafua. Mwana bitoto kapikira kafua. Mwana bitoto kapikira kafua.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Neil. So
Thank you.
that song, I'm lucky enough to have seen the video. It looks amazing. That song's coming out on the 4th of July, I think. I'm just going to put Neil's name in the chat there so you know how it's spelt. Best way to keep in touch with him, if you type Neil Tsumbu Guitar into Instagram, then you'll see his regular updates, and surely that video and stuff will be coming out. So we've got a pretty packed schedule. Yes.
Yeah, if you guys would like to hear the tune, so it'll be out on the 4th of July on YouTube and Bandcamp. So if you go and subscribe to my YouTube channel, so you'll be the first one to see the video. Yeah, go for it.
Cool. All right, amazing. So, and also if you're interested in Neil's guitar styles, he's got 3 courses out on the World Music Method site as well. There are 2 more filmed and coming, which are the sequel to Congolese Guitar Evolution and Tribal Fingerstyle Guitar. So if you're interested in that stuff, make sure you've gone and done the first courses, as the next ones will be getting a bit more real and serious and advanced. So thank you very much, Neil. Pleasure to catch up with you.
Thanks very much.
So right now, over to Akarim, who's joining us live from Kazakhstan. How are you doing, Akarim?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me. Happy World Music Day.
Yes.
So my name is Aykerim. I'm from Kazakhstan. It's Central Asia. Maybe you guys don't know, near Russia and China. Yeah, and I'm a dombra player. So this is the dombra. It's our Kazakh traditional instrument. It's shaped like this, like you see, and it has 2 strings, only 2, but you can do a lot of things on it.
Amazing. So how long have you been playing that instrument?
For more than a decade, because I first learned it when I was 8 years old. I was introduced, because this is, as I said, a traditional instrument, and it is very well known. Everybody knows it, and it's part of our cultural identity. It is like, it's been around for like 4,000 years or like that. So it's an ancient instrument, and our ancestors have been playing it, and it's been always there. So we have a lot, like we have a long and unfortunately sad history. And when people wanted to share or express their emotions or like their feelings, and there were like certain restrictions that they couldn't speak, I mean, like talk about certain topics, they would express it playing the dombra. And so yeah, and that's how we still play it, and we use it in traditional like celebrations, ceremonies, and like events. People always like invite dombra players or singers, so you can also like sing while playing it. So yeah.
Great, amazing. So, how does it sound?
Yeah, so let me play Ki. So Ki is from Kazakh, a composition specifically made for the dombra, and I hope you like it. That's one of the famous ones, and I can say it's a traditional one because it was composed by David Kirey, and it was composed in honor of like generally Turkic people because I don't know, maybe you know, but we are generally very kind and helpful, and we try to help each other, and it's our tradition to welcome everyone and host like good guests. So that's why I guess he composed.
Amazing. So, this might be the same for some of the people here. This is probably my first real introduction into, Kazakhstan music.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a bit about the kind of rhythms that are used in the traditional genres there?
Well, it is a mix of like for this one, it is like mix of certain things, and like also like the beginning part that I played, the slower, like the beginning, it was not really in original composition. It was added later on, but for the rhythms it's different. It can be combined, but it's like also like there are two types of keys, so fast ones, tepe, and slower ones where you play like this, and the rhythm differs like just like depending on the key you play. And as maybe you guys noticed, but we only use our wrist when we play, especially for the fast keys, the first type, just our wrist, and we don't like engage any other part of our hand. That gives us the speed to escalate. It enables us to play fast. And what we do is that we just play certain patterns, like strumming down, down, up, down, up, down, up, up. But when you play it faster, so it's when you play it fast, it sounds like and yeah, and we use only our two fingers, the index finger and then the thumb. When we play down, it's the index finger, thumb, up is with the thumb. And sometimes we play on one string only, so the melody, for example, for classical music, we also play Mozart, Turkish march, so it's one string. Like this. And it is usually accompanied with piano. So for like this kind of classical music or certain traditional different pieces, you play with the piano usually. So when I was in the music school, we often practiced with the piano. And for orchestras and ensembles, we played with a lot of instruments, with other traditional ones as well, like qobuz. It's more like a violin. It's not a violin, but just like the concept. And we also have like traditional drums, I guess. And then we do play with like violins engaged in certain pieces. And yeah, and we just also like accompany each other. So there might be like a solo player, and then we just accompany with the, oh, what is the tuning? Good question. It's G and D as a standard tuning. G for the bottom and D top. But like a very good thing, it is very comfortable to tune. If you want to sing to your voice, you can just like really change to any tuning that suits your voice. You just have to like keep that correlation between G and D, like so for tones, I guess. And then the frets are half tones. We have 19 frets. And yeah, and then you can sing, play like pretty much anything. And I also wanted to show the second type of the key that is much slower and emotional, and there are like certain different techniques for that, for the second time. For example, as I said, we go with some thumb up when we play the first type. Let me just finish this. And then for the second type, we just go like this. So I just use my all fingers sometimes, and I just mainly use my index finger to go down and up. So, and easy tuning is that you just tune this part, this string, and then you can tune the second one, the upper, just pressing the 5th fret. They just have to sound identical, and that's it. So now I'm going to play, if you guys don't mind, the second type that is much slower, and it has a sad story behind it, but it is a lovely melody. Thank you. So it is relatively a new piece. So the composer is still alive, because most of the pieces that we have, it's from our ancestors, like from 100 years ago. But the story behind it is that like the son of the composer, he passed away, and he was so sad that, as I said, people express their emotions, feelings, what they can't say like with words or like convey, so they just create it into like, and then play the music. And like the previous ones also, there are always like very interesting stories behind each like key. Like the pieces that I played before, the fast one, as I said, it is like when he went to another Turkic, what is it, like place, area, he was like so welcome. So that's why he wrote it. And then we also have Aday, which is very, very, like, it is the most famous key. Everybody knows it here in Kazakhstan. It is also fast, and it imitates horse sounds, like horses, and then like the war, because we had to fight a lot for our independence, and we had heroes. So we don't call them soldiers, we say batar, but you don't have the word for that, so it's heroes. And they fought for our lands, for our like independence, and people like played this kind of keys to encourage them to tell the story that what's happening. Yeah, I can play that if you want. It is a fast one. Okay.
I would say, Adrian, is it possible it'd be great to hear how the Kazakh language sounds in these songs as well?
Oh yeah, sure. Yes, so there's a good saying that like tells that this is a very important part of our like cultural identity. So it says, "Nağız Kazak Kazak емес, nağız Kazak dombra," which means that a real Kazakh is not a Kazakh, a real Kazakh is a dombra. So it is the very like, it really demonstrates how it is like part of us, like the nation. And I can say some things like mені шақырғандарыңызға қуаныштымын. It means like, thank you for inviting me.
Oh, would it be great to hear if you were able to sing a tune accompanied by the dombra?
Well, yeah, I don't do it professionally, but I know one song. I will just sing a little bit because I'm not a professional singer like that. So it is also a folk song, so no composer to it, like it's just like people know it, sing it. Yeah, it's called Gulziraim. So something like this. It is a traditional folk song, and we have a lot of them. People also, there's also like aitas, which means that people just, I don't know the word, like they freestyle it, like they have a topic and then they just like come up maybe like talk about independence or talk about like that certain or like political issue, I guess, and then they just start singing like with playing, and then they say da, 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 and then they go to the. So it is like also one of the very good traditions. I mean, like music that we have, and it is like very appreciated, and it can be very like a battle because two singers, they just like battle, and whoever wins, they get like a very good prize, like cars or houses, like that. So yeah.
Amazing. So
And
can you tell us a bit about your...
Am I still on?
Yep. Yeah, we still got you. Just a bit about your kind of mission with the Dombra University and your teaching and what you're up to now.
Hey, I'm sorry. I think my internet, something happened.
That's cool. We got you back. So yeah, I was just asking about what you're up to now with the Dombra University and your teaching and stuff like that, and what your mission is at the moment.
Yeah, so it is a very popular instrument in the country, but outside it is not well known. Like not many people know about it. But I've seen like foreigners from like mainly the United States and then from like England as well, Australia. They want to they stumble upon certain videos where the dombra is played, and then they get interested, but there is nothing that like no resources, no like information to help them learn it. Also like just to get the instrument. So I want to help with that. It is like amazing to teach them because like they get so excited to learn the instrument, and it is a like relatively easy instrument to learn because it has only 2 strings. It is like pretty much straightforward. You just have to press on the edges of the frets to have clean sounds. That's the main rule. Your wrist, and then that kind of thing. So they learn quickly, and I just enjoy the process. I want to help people know more about the dombra, and just like to involve as many people as possible, because it's very fun to play. It sounds beautiful. Well, like personally, I think like that. Sorry, I don't hear you.
Oh yeah, sorry. So are you building them, or are you shipping them out around the world? Are you?
So I work with the masters. We don't have like factories. Like maybe you guys have like a guitar like factories. I don't know, but we don't. And I work with masters who like kind of craft from scratch from certain like types of wood, and then I just help them ship it. So I just kind of communicate with the masters.
Cool. So if anyone wants to learn, I'm just going to type that in the chat now. So Dombra_uni in Instagram. If you want to connect with Akarim and hear about some of her lessons, or even how to get hold of these instruments as well.
Even if you guys don't want to learn it, I mean, just like get in touch. I can send you some playlists of certain of keys, like compilations, great videos, like very professional, like 30 years experienced players. They play really like amazing. So yeah, I can share that as well.
Playlists would be great. I would definitely love to hear that. Does anyone have any last questions for Akarim about the dombra and this music and Kazakh's traditional stuff? You just unmute yourself, or
I have a quick question.
Hi
there. Thanks for sharing your music. It's really beautiful and awesome. My question is, are there other, I know in like some folk traditions, there's several different types of guitars or stringed instruments that are played. That's kind of like the guitar of the or the stringed instrument of that region, or are there other similar or different stringed instruments that are in the family of it?
That's a great question. Well, just first of all, this is like, it has become a standard version. So like when you say a dombra, it's like that's what you see and get usually. But there is another kind of type. It's just like the shape is different. It's kind of more like a squared version. It's on like, it is widespread more on the western part of our country, but it is not that like well known or played. So that's usually what people play, like this shape. Kind of.
Great, thank you.
Thank you for the question.
Definitely.
If that's it.
Nice. And are you finding the dombra in kind of pop music and modern music as well?
Yeah, I mean, like there are no limitations. You can play pretty much everything. Like even just like on one string, you can play soundtracks from the movies like Game of Thrones or like Pirates of Caribbean or something like this kind of thing. Yeah, and it is like easy to like just. I don't know. It's like easy for me, I guess, because I have the experience. But it is not hard to learn. Just to listen and then just kind of come up with the melody. So something like this, like it is soundtracks, and then you can also play like pop songs or like La Vie en Rose or like other French songs. You can also like imitate certain sounds. It can sound like a guitar sometimes, like for example, this one. And then you say da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da. You can just like play and sing. Yeah, and then just like pop songs, for example, like what the stars, Shawn Mendes, or like some maybe like who are the popular ones. You can like Ed Sheeran, you can play their music as well. You can't play chords because only 2 strings we have here, but still I think it sounds good.
Cool.
Just also one thing quickly, I just wanted to share that you can also imitate the sounds of animals like horses, but also like birds. We have this beautiful piece, the Swan, and you can just like, it's a different tuning, by the way. It's G and C instead of D, but then you can play. You see it's like this kind of little sounds that you can do, and then you can also do some tricks as well, like you can just play only with your left hand, and with your right you can just like do some movements, tricks. I guess it looks beautiful.
Amazing. Well, look, thanks so much. It's great to meet you first off and hear about the music. I can see lots of nice comments in there.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me. Thank
especially
you all.
compliments on your voice as well.
Oh, I'm not a professional singer, but thank you so much. I don't.
Yeah. I think to get hold of the playlist would be definitely something I'd be very interested in.
Yeah, I can definitely share that.
Mm-hmm. Because without someone like yourself who has the knowledge, we're just kind of blindly looking on search engines for Kazakhstani music, and who knows what we're going to come up with.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, cool. All right, well,
okay,
yeah.
So
you've got so yeah, if you want to check out Dombra_uni on Instagram. Is that the best place people can reach you?
Yes, for now, yes.
Cool.
We're having a little bit of an issue with Facebook, but Instagram is good for now.
Cool. All right, perfect. Well, thank you so much, Akram. Pleasure.
Thank you.
So now Mr. Silas Giron from Brazil. Are you there, Mr. Silas? Here he is. Cool. So Silas, I've known Silas for actually I'd have to think for 8 years, I think. No, actually, it's going to be more than that. It's probably more like 10 years, actually. I'd say going back to 2000.
What?
No, sorry.
I don't think so many years.
No, I've lost track of what year it is. Yeah, it's about 8 years, I think. 2014.
Yes,
I think we started playing together.
I think we know each other since 2015.
2015, yeah. Cool. So when I met Silas, I was running a world music concert every month. We had different artists, and it's quite funny. Silas kind of turned up towards the end of one gig with his guitar and said, "Yeah, I'm a guitarist. I want to play." I said, "Oh man, sorry, this isn't a jam session. This is a concert." And we started chatting. We exchanged numbers, and then we started meeting and playing together. And the following month, Silas was doing the opening set, performing some songs. And then the month after that, he was doing the headline set, and we got a band together, and we were playing samba reggae, which is Brazilian
Samba
reggae. Samba
reggae.
reggae, yeah.
Because some people might understand some reggae, not some reggae.
Exactly. So yeah, so in Brazil, reggae is pronounced reggae. Hap is or rap is hap.
Reggae. If you go, a Brazilian pronunciation.
Nice. So, and Silas has got a really nice style. Silas is from the north of Brazil in Bahia. Bahia is a very culturally mixed area with all kinds of music, and a huge important part in the story of Brazilian music, and a lot of the very well-known composers are from that region. So, Silas, why don't you tell us a bit about Bahia?
Yeah, Bahia is the state of Brazil that has the largest coast, and is located, to be more specific, in the northeastern region of the country. And Salvador, which is the capital of the state of Bahia, was the first capital of Brazil. So it's a very historic place, and it's one of the places that received the largest amount of African people from outside of Africa. So it's usually associated, when it comes to Brazil, as the place that represents the strongest connection between Brazil and Africa in general. So we are all into African culture and African rhythms. All of our identity and music is related to that.
Cool, amazing. So, could you play us a traditional song from Bahia?
Yes, of course.
You know thousands of these.
Yeah, I usually say that probably there are even more songs in Portuguese that refer to Bahia than even referring to Brazil, because Bahia is a very musical name, and you can combine Bahia with many words that are quite often seen in Portuguese speaking, like fantasy, fantasia, alegria, which is joy, and all these things. So there are lots of songs, and I know some of them, and I love it. I would love to share them with you too. This one, it's like Homesick of Bahia, something like that. Saudade eu tenho da Bahia. Ah, se eu escutasse o que mamãe dizia. Bem, não vai deixar a sua mãe aflita. A gente faz o que o coração dita, mas esse mundo é feito de maldade e ilusão. Ah, se eu escutasse hoje eu não sofria. Ah, essa saudade dentro do meu peito. Mas se ter saudade é ter algum defeito, eu pelo menos mereço o direito de ter alguém com quem eu possa me confessar. Põe assim no desabafar, dizendo a todo mundo que ninguém diz. Veja que situação e veja como sofre um pobre coração. Pobre de quem acredita agora e no dinheiro para ser feliz. Ai, que saudade tenho da Bahia. Ah, se eu escutasse o que mamãe dizia. Bem, não vai deixar a sua mãe aflita. A gente faz o que o coração dita, mas esse mundo é feito de maldade e ilusão. Ah, se eu escutasse hoje eu não sofria. Ai, essa saudade dentro do meu peito. Mas se ter saudade é ter algum defeito, eu pelo menos mereço o direito de ter alguém com quem eu possa me confessar. Põe-se no meu lugar e veja como sofre um infeliz que teve que desabafar, dizendo a todo mundo que ninguém diz. Veja que situação e veja como sofre um pobre coração. Pobre de quem acredita na glória e no dinheiro para ser feliz.
Yes, bravo. I was just thinking something then. If Brazil was a cold country, how do you think that would have affected the music that was created there?
Well, I think we can have an interesting um, reference that will help us to answer this question, because there is a part of Brazil that is pretty cold, not as cold as Europe, but it might get very close to many parts of Europe, which is the south of Brazil. The south of Brazil, you can find very, I mean, not easily, might be too much, but at winter time, it's quite possible to find places with less than 0 degrees. So you can really have this reference of this cold Brazil that is pretty different from my Brazilian part, for instance. Very different. It's much more European. The population, you can find a stronger presence of European descent people.
What about musically there? How does it
Music,
differ?
well, yeah, the music is quite, it's quite interesting too, because especially in the south of Brazil, you can find a cultural and musical identity that sometimes looks more, it seems to be closer to Argentina or Uruguay or Paraguay than the northeast of Brazil, where I came from. In Uruguay, Paraguay, Argentina, it also has a very interesting blend of influences, such as the Spanish influence, and the language and rhythms and all that stuff, and also the rhythms that used to play by the original population from this region, the Indians, as some people call. And let me see and also some African influence too, although it's not as obvious, as is not as easy to find as it is if you go to the coast of Brazil in southeast or northeast, just like Bahia or Pernambuco or Rio de Janeiro and São Paulo. But it's a very interesting identity and music identity. They have very specific and interesting rhythms, and they have their own repertoire as well. That is quite it's very nice. I'm not that familiar with it, but it's very rich too. It is something that is really worth to check.
Cool. So you've got quite a you've got a very rhythmical right hand technique when you play the guitar. It's also always very obvious, usually when you're doing an introduction to a song before you've gone into the melody, you're kind of sort of chopping away and playing these rhythms. Does that come from other Brazilian percussion instruments that you're kind of transposing into the guitar, or what is that?
Absolutely. That's all influence of the rhythms and the drums and the way that the drumming and the percussion seems to be present everywhere in the place where I was born. Everybody's beating everywhere. They are always singing, always playing rhythms and clapping, and lots of different rhythmic cells are combined in creating very unusual sometimes combinations.
Yeah.
So every musician has from Bahia, or almost every musician has a very strong influence of the percussion, especially those just like myself that has this kind of passion and, how can I say, affection for this identity, for this culture, for these people. So we
Nice.
are all about drums. The drums are everywhere. I usually say that when I play the guitar, I'm always playing with some imaginary percussionists. Always trying to.
Nice. Show us an example of that, of how you fit that right hand, and then how you
Yes.
kind of continue that into a song.
But one of the things that I do is not that common, is to use the thumb pick, which gives me, I cut, the last time we met here, I did the same. I cut the thumb pick, try to give that shape of a pick on the side, and it gives me some extra weight on my thumb. So I have this, I think every guitarist has a little bit of this reference, as the guitar has so many rhythmic possibilities. So the thing that I do is not something very, is not a mental elaboration, but it has to do with the daily relationship with the percussion. And in my personal experiences, it's also because I have a brother that is almost as old as me, that is a percussionist. So we always have the interaction that we always had in our lives, made me a musician that is even more focused on the right hand. But the things that I've just played, the song that I've just played is a bossa nova pattern, and I do the cell that is also associated with the instrument called the tambourine in samba, that has ta 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 ta. So I try to use that with these 3 fingers, combining them, trying to sometimes play them more closely together, sometimes just trying to flow from one finger to the other, trying to create this, sometimes like that, sometimes more. And the thumb that goes thinking about the lower drum. So I do. So this is bossa nova. This is the bossa nova way of thinking of playing. You can find it in João Gilberto, which is one of the fathers of bossa nova sound, but also almost every bossa nova musician. The other thing that is a very important reference for me is samba reggae. Samba reggae is usually associated to big groups of drummers playing very loud, one environment where it's not possible or is not common to have this kind of soft approach that I usually have with the guitar. They usually play so loud that this kind of sound that I do couldn't be perceived in general. If you see the samba reggae groups, just like the classical ones like Olodum, like Ileaye, or even some very popular icons from the music of Bahia, such as Ivete Sangalo or Daniela Mercury or Margareth Menezes, just to mention some of them. They usually do it in a very loud environment.
Well, while we've got the this benefit of this tranquil Zoom connection, maybe we could hear one of your samba reggae compositions.
Okay, sure. So basically what I try to do is a mix of samba reggae, which is the loud, very loud kind of groove, and the intimate atmosphere that the guitar gives. So I usually say that there's a fusion of bossa nova and samba reggae. I use the same principle that bossa nova applied to samba reggae. So bossa nova is a way of trying to turn samba into a small structure, and I try to do it the same. How do I do it? I do it using I'll play the song and then we talk more about it later, okay? This one is about one imaginary bridge between two beaches, a beach from Rio and a beach from Bahia. It's about 2,000 kilometers of a bridge. Okay. Imaginary bridge, something like that. Copacabana, praia do Buracão, fim de semana, Iemã, onda da tribo, da batucada, do samba, do reggae, do samba canção. Copacabana, praia do Buracão, fim de semana, Iemã, bate essa onda que anda da ponte que parte do meu coração. A onda anda, onda, a onda anda, onda anda, onda anda, onda. A onda aponta, ponte, a ponte, aponta a onda. A onda anda, onda anda, onda anda, onda. A onda anda longe, a ponte aponta pro horizonte. A onda anda, a ponte aponta, a onda anda longe. É já Rio de Janeiro, Iemanjá e vermelho beira-mar. É já Rio de Janeiro, Iemanjá e vermelho beira-mar. Copacabana, praia do Buracão. Copacabana, praia do Buracão. Copacabana, praia do Buracão, fim de semana, Iemã, onda da tribo, da batucada, do samba, do reggae, do samba canção. Copacabana, praia do Buracão, fim de semana, Iemã, bate essa onda que anda da ponte que parte do meu coração. A onda anda, onda, a onda anda, onda anda, onda anda, onda. A onda aponta a ponte, a ponte aponta a onda. A onda anda, onda anda, onda anda, onda. A onda anda longe, a ponte aponta pro horizonte. A onda anda, a ponte aponta, a onda anda longe. É já Rio de Janeiro, Iemanjá e o vermelho beira-mar. Gilbertiano, canto baiano bacana, é já Rio de Janeiro, Iemanjá, Rio Vermelho, beira-mar, flores valendo, Rio Nascimento, nuvem cigana, ondulando no carinho de Paulinho de Joana, ondulando no carinho de Paulinho de Joana. Rio de Janeiro, Iemanjá, Rio Vermelho, a onda, da onda, da onda, da onda, 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 a onda, da onda.
Nice, very nice. It's great how there's quite a lot of different. Obviously, it's just 6 strings, but there's quite a lot of tones in there when you've got the high frequencies just kind of in the top strings bouncing off what you're doing in the rhythm, and then the voice floats on top of there.
This
Very
clav
nice.
here, we call, some people call it clave or rhythmics or whatever. Something that you can find in bossa nova, but also a lot in samba reggae. They play this very often with drums with a very high tuning. Many like countless. Countless, is it correct to say like that? Countless, like,
Countless, yeah.
Yeah, a very large number of people can play this at the same time, and they have these other drums that gives the lower, they give the idea of a step, mm, 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 which is basically what I try to emulate with my fusion of samba reggae bossa nova. Also have this, which is this another element that's quite present in my right hand, which is this moment where I play the same string with these 2 fingers, creating this little bit, create this kind of tension and this extra
Nice.
drumming feel in the string playing.
Who was the biggest influence on your guitar playing? And maybe we could hear one of their tunes.
Oh yeah, there are a few. I think I started to play this instrument with the very important influence of Geraldo Azevedo. It's not a guy that I probably have never mentioned this name for you before. Geraldo Azevedo is from the northeast of Brazil, and he's from the state of Pernambuco, and he's got a great voice, he's got amazing songs, and he's a great guitarist as well. And he has a very strong influence of João Gilberto too. He's from a younger generation if compared to João Gilberto. João Gilberto, I think, was born in the 30s. Geraldo Azevedo is probably from the 40s, late 40s. And João Azevedo is one of the first guys that give me the feeling of, singing songs in Portuguese and using some rhythmic elements, but also with a very interesting harmonic vocabulary. So João Azevedo is a big name, but one of the most obvious, I think, influences in my guitar playing is Gilberto Gil, because Gilberto Gil was born in Bahia. Gilberto Gil is also a musician that has always been very connected with what we call the Universo Percussivo Baiano, is a percussive universe from Bahia. Let's try to translate like that. So he the way he plays, especially this kind of element that I've just mentioned, there's a very iconic introduction of a song from him that is called Espresso 222. That has a little bit, that has this kind of, it's probably the first time I started to explore this thing. So he's got this. Começou a circular o Expresso 2222, que partiu direto de Bom Sucesso pra depois. This is a song that was recorded for the first time in 72. And it's the kind of sound that he recorded mainly with him and his guitar, and you could feel that the rhythm and the groove and the rhythmic ideas are all printed in his guitar playing. So Gilberto Gil is probably one of the most obvious references for me, but there are others. One of the guys that really blew my mind the first time I got in touch with his music and his guitar playing is a guy named Roberto Menges. Roberto Menges, he took to a high level this technique of using it.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like you got a lot of influences there. You're gonna have to pick one and show us the tune, I think.
Yeah, let's show the influence of, or the reference of Roberto Mendes, for instance, in a song of mine called Samba Tequete. Samba Tequete is a song that I wrote inspired by a very specific kind of samba that can not very easily found outside of Bahia, outside of the region of Bahia called Recôncavo Baiano, because Bahia is also a very large state and very diverse state as well. So Recôncavo is the area where Salvador is located, and some other important cities are located too. And I wrote a song trying to give this, and also using this clave here. This is a little bit different from the ones that we were using. Which is, the other drums, there are drums that they're using this kind of sound. In the lower. Or you can double it. I wrote a song that has a little bit of this. I also say that it's a mantra because it has a little bit of this Zen inspiration. That is not something very easy to be found in the music of Bahia. It's not very, I mean, even when it's spiritual, it has a lot of earth force on it. It has a lot of, So let's show a little bit of this song. O carnaval e o som, o sonho carnaval, do carnaval pro mundo, daqui pro mundo real. Keep this groove in your mind, please, okay? O carnaval e o som e o carnaval, do carnaval pro mundo, daqui pro mundo real. O carnaval e o som e o carnaval, do carnaval pro mundo, daqui Mapa mundi, mente global, palavra. TQT, o pé na fonte. TQT, olho na rede. TQT, verdade. TQT, tesão. TQT, toque. TQT, logo. TQT, cooperação. TQT, trama, grana. TQT, cor. TQT, coração. TQT, calor humano. TQT, o sonho de todos, de toda condição. TQT, 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 refrão. TQT, 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 refrão. Mas pra que TQT paro? Mas pra que TQT padrão? O carnaval e o som. O sonho carnaval, do carnaval pro mundo, daqui pro mundo real. O carnaval e o som, o sonho carnaval, do carnaval pro mundo, daqui pro mundo real. Mapa mundi, mente global, palavra. Tem que ter o pé na fonte, tem que ter olho na rede, tem que ter verdade, tem que ter tesão, tem que ter toque, tem que ter logo, tem que ter cooperação, tem que ter trama, grana, tem que ter cor, tem que ter coração. Tem que ter calor humano, tem que ter o sonho de todos, de toda condição. Tem que ter, tem que ter, tem que ter, tem que ter refrão. Tem que ter, tem que ter, tem que ter, tem que ter refrão. Mas pra que tem que ter padrão? 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 Mas pra que tem que ter padrão?
Bravo. Thanks, man. Cool. Amazing. Thanks, Silas. So, a lot of Silas's songs are on YouTube with full bands, and so you can actually hear the whole kind of samba reggae arrangements, and there's some great videos as well. Silas, where's the best place people can keep in touch with you?
Instagram or Facebook, I think.
Cool, and that's Silas Giron, isn't it?
Also, you can also find me on TikTok, but it's not something that I've been using very often. But I have plans of developing it.
Great.
More soon.
Cool. All right, lovely. Well, thank you very much, Silas.
You're welcome. Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here to see great musicians performing, to learn a lot from you. I wish the great.
Hello, hi, 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 hi.
Hope to be back to London soon as well. I miss you guys.
One. Cool.
Nice one, nice one, nice, nice, nice. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, so yes, thank you, Silas. Thank you very much. So here we have now. How are you doing, Kaba?
Yeah, good. Jabbar and Koray today here.
Excellent. We've got the duo.
Yeah, we need to go. We need to go events in half an hour, and this is
Yeah.
He just come to pick me up, and I say, "Can you enjoy with me?" Say, "Okay." He's a lovely, cutie guy.
Nice.
and we just want to start. We just make a plan now. Of course, no playlist, but we just make a plan because we from Turkey. I don't know with Koray which part of Turkey,
Anatolia.
but which part?
Anamaraş.
Maraş. Are they Kürt?
Akdeniz.
Are they Kurdish?
Half Kurdish, half
Alevi?
Alevi, yeah.
Alevi. They are Alevi. We say okay, Kurdish different, Alevi different, Black Sea people, West End is different. We just decided to play songs everywhere. 3 minutes, 3 minutes, 3 minutes, if we have time.
Okay, let's do it. Let's hear it.
Yeah, it's okay.
Perfect.
Turkey like a miniature India, but like a 10 times smaller, maybe 12, 13 times smaller. But there's still seven different cultures for sure. 7 proper different culture, but plus another one as well. But seasonally and musically, they have Anatolia. We call it Anatolia. And yeah, first songs.
Covid, zeytun.
Hadi. How is our sound, by the way? Şu darmadan geçtim, soğukta sular içtim. Efendim içinde yörükte Ali seçtim. Ey gidi nefesi, nefesi, efelerin nefesi. Ey gidi nefesi, nefesi, efelerin nefesi. Aydın dağın boynu, çalıya da artık boynu. Yürükte Ali'nin adını, Hazreti Ali koydular. Ey gidi nefesi, nefesi, efleri nefesi. Ey gidi nefesi, nefesi, efleri nefesi. Hemen Ege'nin bir aşağıya, if we go in the smaller than, how we say?
Ne yapalım?
Yayla yolları. Ben varmam bir bekleyelim. We didn't practice by the way. How is the sound coming there?
Yeah, that's great, man. So, what was that tune you were just playing there?
Yeah, just this is the southwest. Was the southwest, and now we're going south. Arabim wallahi sekaram billahi. Electro. Take electro. Now south.
All right, let's do it.
How much you're going south, more flavor, yeah?
Okay, is that how it works? Nice.
Yeah, I think so. We're not hearing anything ourselves, but hopefully okay there.
Okay, yeah, you hearing us? Yeah, you hearing
Yeah,
me?
I hearing you, but ourselves
Cool.
not.
Yeah, that's good. Lude's come back now. That sounds.
Barak yap, ondan sonra şey geçelim. Ha? South Coast also, okay? Where are we going now?
Where's next on the map?
Where I don't know. We start a bit. Oh, my baby falling down. Oh la la. Oh, la. Just one second. I need to prepare my baby.
Did you say your baby's falling over?
Yeah. She's very.
She's a musical baby, I'm sure.
Yes, she's.
There she is.
Say hi, daddy. Daddy. Oh, say hi. Oh, she love camera actually. Bless you. Oh, Baba.
Oh. I knew it was a musical baby.
Hadi. Getting hot, weather getting hot. Eyvah. Ne babam? Anyway, she liked that. Başka bir şey. Onu çaldı. Halay. 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 Biraz yapma, halay yap. Çek bakalım. Aman, 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 aman. So we did west, south coast, east coast now. I don't know
So-
how long time we have.
Well, we maybe just time for one more. Can we have the center?
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Sent. Ah, okay baba, okay. Çal. Hadi, okay. Aferin sen. Alttan. Anatolia also we played. Actually, we didn't play Black Sea. Yes. The Rule. Oynayın kız oynayın durmayın ne karı var oynayın Şşt oynayın durmayın ne karı var Hapı köyün içinde acayip ne karı var Hapı köyün içinde acayip ne karı var Derrule 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 I think so. Bize ayrılan sürenin sonra. I think so. We come end of the set. Sizlere Santur'la I want to say goodbye to you with the Santur please. Baba. Sen zaten show. Canlı yayında show. Koray show.
Gelsene orada. Sen de
Elkacı. Thank you so much. Alex Pazlıkım. Teşekkürler. Korean Jabbar from Turkey. We all play all Anatolian songs from the up to north and end of the Kurdistan, Zeybek, Black Sea to southern Turkey. Hopefully, world gonna be more colorful. Keep more colorful. Life is keep going more colorful, and we will enjoy become together more and more. Thanks so much for this opportunity and this time sharing with us and letting us part of this beautiful chain.
Thank you very much, Jabba. Thank you. That was amazing.
Have
That
a
was
nice
great.
World Music Day. I don't know, is this World Music Day or
It is
World Music Day?
Wow, we've stolen it.
Okay.
But that was amazing. We've been all the way around Turkey in just 30 minutes.
Yeah.
East, south, west, central.
Actually, we didn't practice and rehearse. We never practicing. And
That's the
this
best
is
way.
making us more excited actually. Sorry if I'm giving him some directive on the live. So, sorry for that. But all was live and no any plan structure.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much. So, if you guys want to keep in touch with Jabba and his music, his Instagram handle is Jabbaristan, same way as it's spelt on his Zoom.
Koray is one of my best colleagues, and
yeah. Cool.
You can find us. Thanks.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. Pleasure.
All the best. Thank you.
See you soon.
Sorry, we have to run out.
No, good luck. Good luck with the gig.
Thank you. Thank you.
Brilliant.
Thank you. Hadi valla. Geçmiş olsun. Geçmiş olsun keke. Hadi hazırlan.
Cool. All right. What did you think of that, guys? A very interesting trip around Turkey. Amazing. Cool. So now it's time for a bit of a bass lesson. But if you don't play bass and you've got another instrument you might like to jam along or watch, just going to stop and start the recording. Okay. How are we doing for volume, guys? You're hearing the bass and the voice, everything in there nicely. Cool. Just get into position. Okay. Okay, great, amazing. So, happy World Music Day again, anyone, if you've just joined us. So, what we're going to do now is have a bass lesson looking at some Congolese music styles. And this is what we do, or a variation of this, every Tuesday in the Bass Academy. We have a 1 hour lesson where we hang out and look at different styles. In the last few weeks, we've been looking at music from Mali, and before that, I think we did 3 weeks with Zimbabwean music and Cameroonian. One reason it's great to always go back to Congo is because it is Congo is kind of a very big deal in the history of African music, because a lot of African countries took influence from Congolese music. Now, this is because Congo was one of the most developed nations in Africa back in the 1950s. The first ever song that was recorded in Africa was recorded in Congo in 1946 or 1948. The first radio station in Africa was Congo. So it was a big deal in terms of advancement, and a lot of other countries listened to Congolese music because they were the first people who were recording music. So those records got shared around and music got popular, and there's also a kind of a link because the Congo has a lot of tribes, 450 different tribes, different ethnic groups and dialects, languages, and many of these tribes are what's called Bantu. So they kind of share a common ancestor called as Bantu, and in East Africa and in Southern Africa, over thousands of years, a lot of the Bantu people migrated south and east from Congo. So although there's lots of different tribes, there are many tribes. I mean, there are tribes in Zimbabwe who are also Bantu. There are tribes in Kenya who are Bantu, or they have a Bantu origin. So it means that there's a kind of similarity in the language group, and probably ancestral rhythms. There's so much kind of new research about memories and DNA, and memories being stored in DNA from ancestors. So it's quite possible that people in Zimbabwe might like Congolese music because there is a connection, an ancestral connection with these ethnic groups. So what I want to just touch on very first is just a little kind of insight. I want to talk about a bit about the anatomy, right? Because no matter what instrument we play, the way we hold the instrument, the way we use our hands, other parts of the body is so important, and everything is connected in the body. All these muscles. If you have tension in your lower back, that might also affect your shoulders. It might affect your face. It's all connected like that, and so being aware of that, when we're playing, it's kind of a subtle thing that might help us get to the next level, without having to put any extra practice in, just by understanding how the body functions in terms of playing music. Now, if you think, if I'm going to play this note, although I want to kind of just be using as little effort as possible and as little muscular use as possible, and really I don't want to be switching on any muscles I don't need for this movement, okay? Although that's the case, and I want to be isolating as much as possible, really the sound of that isn't just coming from my finger, it's the whole body, really, because things in the rest of my body can affect the sound of that. It's quite amazing. I was just teaching a student a week or so ago, and what I could see instantly when playing the scales, she's doing sort of and basically this muscle is being switched on when it doesn't need it. Basically, you can play you can look right at your hands. You can use these. If you just want to isolate the muscles necessary, you can just move this. You don't need the rest of your body, right? If you're switching on these muscles, you're unnecessarily contracting them. They're taking energy. You don't need it for the movement that you're doing. Okay, you can look there, and if you need to look closer, it's got to be done in the most relaxed way possible, and that's easy to see when you're observing someone else. Okay, it's obviously not as easy to witness on yourself unless you're playing on a camera or in a mirror or something like that, or recording yourself and looking back. But just from telling her about that and being aware of that, then when she did it again without moving the neck, the tone sounded so much better. Okay, and you all, if you were watching, you all would have heard it. So it's not just this that makes a sound; it's the whole body, and just being conscious of that and being aware of that is basically the first step. You can think, what am I doing with my head in relation to the rest of my body? If you have that thought, you'll kind of, you might be playing for a while and then you tense up, and you'll notice it more if you're just being consciously aware of it and you're just thinking, what am I doing there? Do I need to be switching on those muscles, or not? Right? Okay. And it's like, I like to play bass with the whole body, especially when I'm performing. Like I want to be feeling it with my whole body, especially and accenting things and really looking like I'm into it. So let's say you kind of accenting stuff with your face, like when it gets to a little hard passage or something like that. It's strange to see myself in the screen when I do that, but it's like I like to accent things with my whole body, but you've got to be aware of. Let's say you were playing a phrase that had a very technical line. Let's just think of something off the top of my head. Something like. Okay, I'm just making that up, but it's like when I get to this bit, right? That's obviously more difficult. If I tense up and I go, and I'm using these muscles and I'm switching everything on, that is going to slow down. First, basically, switching on this slows down the signal from my brain going down my arm to my fingers. Okay, every muscle you contract and switch on is going to slow down that. Okay, so we want minimum possible. So we just want to having the same. Look at how relaxed I am when I'm doing this. We want the same feeling. And one thing is just breathing as well. If you've got the same breathing motion, because I can still breathe whilst going, but a lot of times you might be playing and you think, oh, a difficult bit's coming up, and it's like you don't just constantly think this just happens. You tense up, you stop breathing, you switch on all these muscles around here, that translates down to your arms, and you wonder why it's more difficult. Okay, so it's just something to be aware of when you're playing. Think, what muscles am I using? Am I using more muscles than I need? And even like a drummer. Okay, so if a drummer is playing a roll on the snare, if they want to play very fast, the common thing, we're going to think, oh, we have to be fast, we need more effort, we put in all our muscles like this. Okay, but no, that's it, we don't need any if that's the motion of playing the snare, then to go faster we don't need any other motion to be included. It's just the same motion, which is, let's say, I'm just moving these wrists, but quicker. Nothing else, right? Anything else that switches on, because you're trying to go as fast as possible, and then if you then are adding on all these muscles, it's going to slow that down, and that also, when you bring in that tension, it makes your muscles tired. Okay, because especially if you're playing for a long time, you get tense, and then you start to feel tired. That's why it is, because you're using more energy than you need. Cool, good. All right, that's just a little. Hopefully that's helpful. Just a little kind of bit of what I've been thinking lately about the anatomy. So right, Congolese music. So thumb technique. If you can't do this, just use the 2 fingers or however you usually play. In Congo, we use the thumb on a downstroke and the first finger on an upstroke. Yeah, some of you guys have obviously been doing this for a while with me, but it's always good to practice this and come back to this. So we just do a down, up, down, up, down, up motion. Okay, we play D, 5th fret on the A string. And we can use that thumb on every string. Let's go to the octave. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, if you play guitar, you could still do this technique on the guitar. You know, you saw Silas from Brazil doing a great thumb technique. Now, if we're going to go faster, remember what I said about how do we play fast? We don't add in any other motion, any other muscles. So if you look, if I'm going quicker, there's really no difference in my hand. Okay, obviously I've probably been doing this for longer than you, so you might struggle at that tempo. But if you're struggling, you still do it gently. We'll slow it down a bit. Here's a nice gentle motion. It's relaxing. Breathe. And if we speed it up, no change in my forearm, no change in my neck. Cool. All right, brilliant. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to put the backing track on for a second. Let's use. Okay, yeah. So basically the backing track, the chords are A, E, D, E. Okay, this is a 1, 5, 4, 5. That's A, E, D, E. Sorry, just need to change my audio playback. Cool. Is that coming through your audio? You're hearing that? Just bring it down slightly. Let me know if you need more or less volume. Okay, so the chords are A, E, D, E. Okay, so I'm just going to bring the volume down now. So I like using this backing track because I've used this in so many different lessons, and I always try and find a different bass line every time. Okay, so one way I love to do that is by humming or singing a little groove. Now, it's not a requirement to sing well or to sing the notes properly. It's just a way of getting kind of a melodic phrase from me to the instrument. Okay, and sometimes singing is a great way of just of connecting that. So that's the first thing that's coming to my head. So I can think, okay, what are those notes? So I might think, okay, cool. So I've got a little sort of starting idea of a bass line. It's not really that kind of functioning as a bass line at the moment. It's kind of, there's quite a lot missing in there. But I might think how to bring that in. So maybe something like just having a kind of grounding phrase in there, something like that. Then I might just kind of play around with that. And then I might think, actually, you know, a way to develop that is actually if I stop the track, I'm not stuck in that tempo. I can have a little bit more thinking space where ideas might flow slightly differently. Okay. I think, okay, that's kind of working, but it's a bit flat, really. You know, it's a bit, it's pretty boring, actually, I'd say. Maybe you're already thinking that. But there's a lot missing there in terms of it being a line that I'd be sort of comfortable with. So, okay, let's go back to the drawing board. So maybe go back to singing a line, or we could think maybe we need to get up in this kind of register because we're playing. Maybe we need something like that. Getting onto that G string often just brings in melody, or you know. So how would I loop that in? So. I'm liking that kind of slide. It's not quite there yet, but I'll go back to the track. Maybe now a kind of another idea will form.
Okay, so I'm starting to feel that now. Cool. So it's got quite it's still not kind of completely defined, but let's have a go at that slowly. So. Okay, cool. So we're going to kind of settle on that. So this is the first bit. So, you know, our first chord is A major. So quite often we would use the chord tones. By that I mean the A, C sharp or E. So we've got A, high E, low E. Boo dee 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 boo. Doo dee 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 dum. Now if you haven't got that thumb technique comfortable, that's fine. Just use the fingers. It works well as well. So we've got that. I'm doing a slide E up to F sharp, back to E. Yeah. Nice tone slide, yeah? 2 semitones. You can use that finger or you can use your little finger. I'm kind of, if you think, try and get the rhythm first. Da 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 da. They're all straight notes. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. So I'm going do dee 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 do dee. Sorry, do dee dee dee. So I've got a. After I hit that low E, I'm playing that E octave again. And then I'm playing that note. So when I play that high E, I then play it again, and I slide. So when I slide, I don't use my right hand. I play the first note, slide up, slide back down. So we're going A E E E E A E E E E E E F sharp E. Good. Cool. Okay. So I'm just going to make sure I've got the line on my own first. Okay, so I'm doing it. I'm playing E, E, B, A on the end. So 1, 3, 4, 3, 4, beat 3, 4. E, E, B, A. Because I just wanted to get that high string in there. So put that together is. If you think about the rhythm and those notes, just very straight. Da 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 da. So then once we've got that, we just need a kind of something that will fit on the D, over the D chords. So I'm playing. Before we had A, E, 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 E. Now we're going to go A, D, 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 D. So same kind of thing, A, D, D, D. And instead of playing the low E, high E, because before we had A, E, 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 A, E, 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 E. But when we get to D, we're going to go A, D, 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 F sharp. We're going to swap our low E for an F sharp. We use F sharp because it is the third of D major, right? And then we're going to go back to the E. A, D, 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 F sharp, E. Coming a bit closer. A, E, 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 F sharp, E. Okay, so then the whole phrase would be A, D, 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 F sharp, E, E. Same thing on the end. So I'll put those two together so you can hear them, because I know we've sort of pulled them apart a bit, but you've got to hear them together. F sharp. Yeah, try it a little bit quicker. Sorry, 2, 3, 4. Sorry. Yeah, so the track is actually quite a lot quicker than that. So, you know, if you need to leave out some of those notes, you can still kind of capture the feel with a bit more space. Okay, so when it gets quick, you know, it could be instead of maybe something.
actually, what I've done there, I've kind of swapped. I've swapped that F sharp to the low E, right? Even over that D chord, we can still put that E in there. It's just about going to work. You know that. So I'm just do-di-di-di-dum, and I'm leaving out that little next semiquaver instead of do-di-di-di-do-do-do. We're going do-di-di-di-dum, di-di-di-di-dum, stopping. And what this means is we've got E, 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 that low E coming in again, which just kind of gives the bass line a bit of kind of more weight, because now we've got something coming in on every chord on that low string. So speed up a bit. Now, if you find sliding difficult, you know, if you play a bass line like this again, quickly you're gonna, it's gonna become a lot more comfortable. You know, when we're here, then, you know, we could think, okay, what would it sound like if we didn't play that slide every time? Cool, okay, so let's try that with the track. So we've got the quicker bass line. Well, so they're the same speed, there's one with more notes. Or a bit more space. Okay, here we go. It is quite a lot quicker, but by practicing it, that's how you'll get comfortable with it. Cool. So, you know, when we've got a groove like that that works, we can think, okay, if we've got another song, different chord progression, D, G, A, G. Okay, so D, G, A, G. We've got to think, okay, can we follow the same principles and come up with a bass line over this that works? So I'm just going to give you a couple moments to play along with this. See if you can use any method of listen to the drums, listen to the guitar, and kind of humming a line or using a kind of rhythmic feel we think would work. Okay, so I'm just kind of humming something in my head, and I'm thinking like, so I can find what those notes are. So if I think, okay, if the melodies kind of come to me like that, how to put that into a bass line? So it might be. So I'm just kind of still coming up with an idea. So I've kind of got that kind of thing repeating. I'd say it's actually probably clashing a little bit with the guitar. You know, it sounds nice, but it's kind of, and I would say maybe it's this is clashing with him because he's basically doing the same thing. So if I was doing do do da do da do da da, maybe sort of like. So we think, okay, that fits better. So then we build the rhythm around it. How was it? it sort of boom, boom, ba, boom, ba, da, ba, 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 ba. So even though I've actually got more notes in here, they kind of doesn't kind of clash so much because it's because I instead of doing da 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 with that stop, it's just I'll slow that one down. So I'm playing do dee 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 do just with the D, right? Low D and the high D octave. Do dee 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 do. Just that simple motion. And I'm then bringing this next note. B A B D, yeah, B, 9th fret. On D string, then we come down to the A, back to the D, up to the D. D D D D D B A B D. And try and get nice even notes with that thumb and the finger. So then when we get to the, and the reason this fits is got D major, G major, but I'm playing a nice B, which is the third over G. So here I'm going A, C sharp, E. Okay, I'm playing, got A major, I'm playing roots, third, and the fifth below. A C sharp E, A C sharp E. And I play a C sharp on the end, and that same phrase. B A B D A C sharp E C sharp B A B D. So put those together. Try that with the track again. Sounds like a folk song, yeah. guys got any questions at all about that stuff, about this bass line, or how we come up with these things, or anything at all? Because basically it's just kind of, that's the way I do it a lot of the time. I just kind of use my voice, and I don't think too much about it. It's kind of just like the first thing that's sort of, I don't think, okay, what's a great bass line I could come up with that has all the characteristics that make it a great bass line? I just listen and I just think the first thing that comes into my head, and then sometimes I start doing it. I'm like, oh, actually that doesn't work, and that's fine. You just then get rid of that and try a second attempt, and then it might come together, And it's like, as long as it's got the notes that fit the chord, or sometimes notes that don't fit the chord but that sound nice harmonically in there as well. Like, you could have over D, you could have that E. And also, with your thumb technique, you can always practice your scales like this. Just doing thumb finger. Thumb finger, thumb. No, sorry. Yeah, thumb finger, thumb finger. It sounds quite cool when you do it like that. Or you could even go through your modes like that. If you did the major and the minor. The only difficult bit is when you get to that half diminished. It's a different kind of fingering. It's not as easy to do so quickly. If you actually did that for a few minutes every day, just that discipline on your doing it again and again, especially if you've got a metronome, and just it doesn't even have to be that quickly. The important thing is getting the tone of those notes. I mean, when I go quick, it's some of those notes always don't come out well. It's also great if you do a minor arpeggio, starting with your ring finger, your fourth finger. You get this great stretch, because instead of doing sort of one finger per fret thing, you've actually got 5 frets. And so let's say you went up to B minor, and you use your fourth finger on B, starting on the 14th fret on the A string. That stretch is okay, but as you take that down the neck, the frets start to get bigger. That starts to get a lot more difficult stretching there. So it's really, when I'm doing it down there at E flat, I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that in this region, this region of my arm. I'm feeling that tension, but also means by doing that a lot, it's going to build up the strength there as well, and that's going to get easier. But yeah, the thumb technique. I think it's brilliant. There's so much when you get the hang of it. When you've done enough hours, there's just so much you can do with it. You know, who needs a guitarist anymore? If you can do that. Cool. All right, nice one, guys. So we'll leave it there. So thanks for joining us, and yeah, been a good, interesting day. I know not all of you been here for the sessions earlier on, but we had who do we have? We had Noel first telling us about his life story really, and how he got started with the guitar and stuff in Congo, and Akarim telling us about the Dombra instrument that probably is new to most of us. Silas, and then a great kind of quite wild Turkish, very different energy. There was just, I guess having two people as well, with a saz player and percussion and voice. Cool. So nice one. Thanks for coming. Hope you felt that interesting.
Are recordings available? Are available from the other sessions?
Yeah,
because
definitely.
I couldn't join them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I'll been recording all of this, so I'll probably put them into the Music Academy course, which you've got. When you look in your account, you'll see it's in the same place where you click on Bass Academy. There's the Music Academy bit there. I think I'll put them in there, would be the easiest place. But yeah, it was really nice. There was some great musicians. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, thank you very much, and see you soon. And let me know if there's ever any questions or whatever. Get in touch. Drop me an email, or see you soon. Cool. Have a good one.